Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to tell you 6 powerful psychology tricks that can change how people see you, trust you, and listen to you. These tricks are not magic, but they feel like magic when you use them. They work in daily life, in English learning, and in talking with people. Some of them are so simple, you'll wonder why nobody told you before. And one of them, the last one, can even make people remember you for years. So stay with me till the end, because the more you hear, the more power you will have in your words and actions. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever met someone for the first time and instantly liked them? Or maybe you met someone and in only a few minutes you trusted them. You didn't even know why. It just happened. That's the power of psychology at work. Most people believe that connection and influence are about luck, personality, or years of experience. But the truth is there are simple, clear steps anyone can take to make a stronger impact. And you don't need perfect English or big confidence to start. You just need to know these tricks and use them naturally. Now, here's the exciting part. These tricks are not only for making friends or talking your own language. They are perfect for English learners too. When you speak English, it's not only the words that matter. Your body language, your tone, your pauses, and even the little things you say can change how people feel about you. Psychology gives you tools to speak with more confidence, to make people listen more closely, and to make them enjoy talking with you. In the next minutes, I'm going to share 6 of these tricks. Each one is like a small key. When you use one, a door will open, maybe a door to trust, to respect, or to a deeper friendship. And when you put all 6 together, you will have something powerful, the ability to connect with anyone, anywhere, even in a new language. So let's start this journey together. And remember, the last trick might just make you unforgettable. Chapter 1. The power of mirroring is one of the most powerful and simplest psychology tricks you can use in daily life. It's when you match someone's body language, tone of voice, or pace of speech. You don't copy them like a robot. You do it in a natural, gentle way, so they don't even notice. But their brain will notice, not with words, but with feelings. And that feeling is, this person is like me. Why is this so important? Because our brain loves people who feel similar to us. It's called the social bonding effect. From the time we are children, we are drawn to those who seem to share our mood, our movements, and even our way of speaking. When we feel that same energy, trust grows faster. Conversations become easier. Walls come down. And here's the best part. You can make this happen on purpose. Imagine you are speaking with someone who talks slowly and softly. If you match their slow pace and softer tone, they will feel more comfortable. But if you speak fast and loud, their brain will feel a mismatch, like 2 puzzle pieces that don't fit. The same is true with body language. If someone is sitting with their arms open and relaxed, and you do the same, it sends a quiet signal. We are alike. If they smile and you smile back, the connection grows stronger without a single extra word. For English learners, this is golden. You might be thinking, but my English is not perfect. Will mirroring still work? Yes, because connection is not only about the words. Even if you make grammar mistakes, people will feel more at ease when you match their style. And here's a bonus. When you match their pace of speech, You actually give yourself more time to think and form sentences. If they speak slowly, you can slow down too, which reduces pressure and mistakes. Let's take a practical example. You are meeting someone who speaks English clearly, but slowly. You listen to their speed, and you follow it. If they pause often, you also pause. If they lean in while talking, you lean in slightly. Soon, your conversation feels smooth, natural, and friendly. You don't need to force it. You just reflect what they give you. Now, here's an emotional spike. Did you know the FBI uses mirroring when talking to suspects and in hostage negotiations? They do it to build trust quickly, even in dangerous situations. A negotiator will repeat the last few words a person says, match their tone, and copy small part of their body language. This makes the other person feel understood, even if they are scared, angry, or stressed. If it works in high-stress moments like that, imagine how well it works in normal daily conversations. Another hidden benefit for English learners is pronunciation practice. If you mirror not just the pace, but the sounds and rhythm of someone's speech, you're training your ear and your mouth at the same time. You become more aware of how native speakers connect words, where they pause, and which words they stress. Over time, this makes your English sound more natural, without studying a single grammar rule. But remember, mirroring should feel light, not heavy. If you copy every movement exactly, people will notice and think it's strange. The key is to make it subtle, like a gentle reflection in water. For example, if someone crosses their legs, you don't do it immediately. You wait a few seconds, then shift your legs in a similar way. If they use hand gestures, you also use your hands, but in your own style. You can try this in your next English conversation. Pay attention to 3 things: body language, posture, gestures, facial expressions. Tone of voice, high or low, soft or strong. Pace of speech, slow, medium, or fast. Pick one to mirror at first, then add more as you get comfortable. You'll be surprised how people start to relax, smile more, and open up to you. The magic of mirroring is that it works almost everywhere. Meeting new people, talking to friends, practicing English with a teacher, or even in job interviews. It's a way of saying, I understand you, without needing perfect English. And when people feel understood, they like you more, they listen more, and they remember you. Now that you know how to make people feel connected to you by simply reflecting their style, let's move to something even more interesting. What if you could make people agree with you without asking directly? That's the power of the next trick, and you'll learn it in the next chapter. Chapter 2. The power of because sometimes one small word can completely change how people respond to you. One of the most powerful examples is the word because. It's such a simple word, but when you use it in your requests, people are far more likely to say yes. This isn't just my opinion. It comes from real science. In a famous Harvard psychology study, researchers tested how people reacted to requests with and without the word because. The results were amazing, adding because made people say yes almost twice as often. Here's what they found. In one experiment, a person went to a busy office and asked strangers waiting to use the photocopier, "Can I use the copier?" Most people said no, but when they added a reason, "Can I use the copier because I'm in a hurry?" Suddenly, almost everyone said yes. And here's the surprising part. Even when the reason wasn't strong, like, Can I use the copier because I have to make some copies? People still said yes much more often. Why? Because our brain is trained to hear the word and accept that a reason is coming. It makes the request sound logical and fair. Think about it. Our brains are busy. Our attention is short, and we often make quick decisions. The moment we hear, because we stop resisting and start listening. We feel the person must have a good reason. So we agree. That's why this one word can double your chances of success. Let's make it simple with an example you can try today. Imagine you're in your English class and you want to sit near the window. If you just say, "Can I sit here?" the teacher might say no or ask why. But if you say, "Can I sit here because I can see the board better?" it sounds polite, reasonable, and hard to refuse. You gave a reason, and that reason makes the request feel justified. For English learners, because is also a golden word for practice. It helps you make longer, more complete sentences, which improves your speaking flow. Instead of short, simple requests like, "I need this," you can build richer sentences like, "I need this because it will help me finish my homework faster." Not only do you sound more polite, but you also train your brain to link ideas, which is a key skill in fluent speaking. Here's a little challenge. For one day, every time you ask for something in English, try to add because and give a reason. It doesn't have to be a big reason. Even a small one works. For example, "Can you help me because I want to practice this word?" "Could you repeat that because I didn't hear clearly?" "Can we start now because I don't have much time later?" You'll notice people react more positively. They'll listen longer. They'll be more willing to help. And the best part? They'll think you are thoughtful and polite because you're not just making demands. You're explaining your needs. This works outside of English learning, too. If you're at work with friends or even talking to strangers, because makes requests feel softer and smarter. Imagine being in a coffee shop and want to cut in line because your bus is leaving soon. If you just say, "Can I go ahead?" people may feel annoyed. But if you say, "Can I go ahead because my bus is coming in 2 minutes?" most people will step aside. They feel your request is fair, even if they don't know you. Here's the emotional spike. Many people spend their whole lives making requests without this little magic word, and they miss out on opportunities. They face more no's than they need to, just by adding, because you can change the result without changing your personality or asking more loudly. It's a quiet, polite way to get more yes in life. One more thing, because doesn't only help you get things, it also helps you explain things. When you tell people why you're doing something, they feel more connected to you. If someone asks, "Why are you learning English?" and you say, "Because I want to travel and make friends from around the world," they feel inspired. They understand you better, and understanding builds trust. So try it. For the next week, use "because" in your English conversations and see what happens. You might be surprised at how quickly people start saying yes, how much easier it is to make friends, and how confident you feel when speaking. Now, you learn how a single word can change people's decisions and make your English sound more persuasive. But sometimes words are not enough. Sometimes silence can speak louder than speech. And in the next chapter, you'll discover a trick that uses no words at all, but can make people lean in and listen more than ever before. Chapter 3. The power of pauses. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. A pause, a moment of silence, can do more than 100 words if you use it well. Pausing after you speak can make people lean in, listen more closely, and remember your words longer. It's a tool that great leaders, skilled teachers, and powerful public speakers use all the time. And the best part? You can use it too, even as an English learner. When you speak without pauses, your words become like water rushing too fast. They pass by without giving the listener time to catch them. But when you pause, it's like giving the listener a moment to drink, to absorb, to feel the weight of what you just said. A pause can make your sentence sound important, even dramatic. Think about great public speakers. They don't just talk, they perform. They know that silence is part of communication. Imagine a speaker saying, "This is the moment we've been waiting for." That pause after this makes you wonder, what's coming next? That pause before "we've been waiting for" makes the sentence feel more powerful. Without the pauses, it would just sound like, "This is the moment we've been waiting for." Fast, forgettable, and flat. Now, here's an emotional spike. I once heard a story about a teacher who faced a noisy classroom. The students were talking, laughing, and not paying attention. Instead of shouting, "Be quiet," the teacher simply walked in front of the room, stood still, and said nothing. Slowly, one by one, the students began to notice. Their voices got quieter. Their heads turned. In less than a minute, the entire room was silent, not because they were told to be, but because the silence itself was louder than words. That is the power of a pause. For English learners, pausing has another huge benefit. It gives your brain time to think. Many learners try to speak quickly because they don't want to look slow or unsure. But speaking fast without thinking often leads to mistakes, confusion, or getting stuck. If you pause, even for just a second, you give yourself space to find the right words. You sound calmer, more confident, and more in control. Here's how you can start using pauses in your English. After you finish an important sentence, stop. Let there be 1 or 2 seconds of silence before you continue. At first, it may feel strange because you might think people will feel awkward, but actually, they will feel more focused on your words. Try it now. Say a sentence out loud like, "I believe we can achieve our goal." Then pause. Don't rush into the next sentence. Feel the quiet. Notice how it gives strength to what you said. Let's do a little demonstration moment right here. The next time you speak English, maybe in class, in a meeting, or even with a friend, pick one sentence to say slowly, and after you finish, pause. Watch the person's reaction. You might see them nod, smile, or just stay quiet because they are thinking about what you said. That's when you know the pause worked. Another thing to remember is where to place your pauses. You can pause after important points to give them more weight. You can also pause before you say something important to create suspense. For example, if you say, "I have something important to tell you," and then wait 2 seconds, the listener's curiosity will grow. They'll be fully ready to hear your next words. Pauses are not just about sound. They're also about presence. When you pause, you show that you are confident enough not to fill every second with words. You're not rushing. You're in control. That's why many successful speakers use pauses like musicians use silence between notes to make the message more beautiful. You can start small. In your next English conversation, choose 2 moments to pause, one after saying something important and one before saying something important. Over time, this will become natural. You will speak with more clarity, more power, and more influence. So far, you've learned how to connect with people through mirroring, how to make them agree more with the power of because, and now, how to grab their attention with pauses. But what if you could go even further? What if you could make people feel they owe you something, so they want to help you without you even asking? That's the power of the next psychology trick. And we're about to explore it in the next chapter. Chapter 4. The rule of reciprocity. There's a simple truth about human nature. When someone does something nice for us, we feel like we should do something nice back. This is called the rule of reciprocity, and it's one of the most powerful psychology principles in the world. It works across cultures, across ages, and even across languages. The rule is simple. When you give, people feel a natural pull to give back. This doesn't mean you have to give big gifts or spend money. Even a small act, a kind word, a helping hand, a small piece of useful information can activate this rule. Imagine holding the door open for someone. Most people will smile and say, "Thank you." If you later ask them for a small favor, they'll be more likely to say yes because you already did something for them. That's reciprocity at work. You can see it in daily life everywhere. If you compliment someone, "I really like your idea," they will probably start liking you more. If you help a coworker carry a heavy box, they may help you later without you even asking. And it's not just about physical help. Even emotional support counts. When you listen carefully to someone's story, they feel valued. Later, they'll be more likely to listen carefully to you. Here's an emotional spike. Psychologists tested this principle in restaurants. In one study, waiters gave customers a small piece of candy with their bill, just one little sweet. Guess what happened? The tips went up. When the waiter gave 2 pieces of candy, the tips went up even more. And when they gave a piece of candy, started to walk away, then turned back and gave another just for you, the tips increased dramatically. Why? Because that small gift made customers feel cared for, and they wanted to give back. That's reciprocity in action. Now, let's connect this to English learning. Many learners think improving English is only about practicing speaking and grammar. But building relationships is just as important, because the better your relationships, the more opportunities you get to speak. And reciprocity can help you build those relationships faster. For example, if you're in an English class, you can help your classmate by explaining a word they don't understand, or you can give them a friendly compliment. Your pronunciation is getting better. That tiny act of kindness will stay in their mind. The next time you need help, maybe you forgot a word, or you want someone to practice with, they'll be much more likely to say yes. Even online, this works. If you join an English learning group and you share a helpful website or correct someone's sentence politely, people will appreciate you. Later, when you post a question, they'll feel happy to answer you. Reciprocity builds a circle of giving and receiving that keeps growing. But here's something important. Use this rule to build trust, not to manipulate. If you give something only because you secretly want something in return, people can feel that. Real reciprocity works best when your giving feels genuine. The return will come naturally over time. You can start practicing this in very small ways. In your next conversation, Try giving something before you ask for something. It could be a compliment, a piece of advice, or just listening without interrupting. Notice how the other person's attitude changes. There's also a hidden benefit. Giving makes you feel good, too. It boosts your confidence and your mood, which makes your English sound warmer and more natural. People are more attracted to conversations that feel positive, and reciprocity creates exactly that feeling. Think about this. In the first 3 chapters, you learn to connect with people by mirroring their style, to get more agreement by using because, and to hold attention with pauses. Now, with reciprocity, you can create relationships where people genuinely want to help and support you. And here's the exciting part. There's another trick that can take this even further. It's not about favors and it's not about gifts. It's about making people feel an instant, personal connection with you the moment you meet. Now let's talk about a trick that makes people like you instantly. Chapter 5. The power of using someone's name. One of the sweetest sounds a person can hear is their own name. It doesn't matter if you are in your home country or speaking to someone in another language. Your name is deeply personal. When someone says it, your brain pays attention. In fact, scientists have found that hearing your own name activates special areas in the brain connected to identity and emotions. It's like a little spark of recognition that says, this is about me. Think about the last time someone used your name in a conversation. Maybe they said, "Thank you, Sarah," instead of just "thank you." Or they said, "Good job, Ollie," instead of "good job." Didn't it feel warmer? More personal? Using someone's name shows that you see them as an individual, not just another face in the crowd. And that small difference can make people like you and trust you more. Here's an emotional spike. I once heard a story about a man who went to a restaurant every week. On his first visit, he asked the waiter's name. The waiter said, "My name is David." The next week, the man came back and said, "Hi, David. How are you today?" The waiter's face lit up. From that day on, David always gave him the best table and the fastest service. He didn't do it because he was told to. He did it because he felt seen and respected. All because the customer remembered and used his name. For English learners, using names can be a secret tool for building relationships. When you are learning a new language, you might feel shy or worried about making mistakes. But remembering and using someone's name takes almost no English skill. Yet it makes a big impact. It tells the other person, "You matter to me." The first step is to listen carefully when someone introduces themselves. If you're not sure about the pronunciation, it's okay to ask politely, "Could you say your name again?" Or, "How do you spell your name?" People appreciate the effort because it shows you care about getting it right. Once you know their name, use it naturally in conversation. For example, when greeting, "Hi, Maria, nice to see you." When thanking, "Thank you, Ahmed." When closing the conversation, "Take care, Lisa." But here's an important tip. Don't overuse it. If you say someone's name in every sentence, it will feel strange or fake. The magic works best when you use it at key moments, greetings, thanks, and important points in the conversation. Using names can also be great English practice. You can combine it with greetings and responses to make your speech more natural. Instead of just saying, "How are you?" you can say, "How are you, John?" Instead of just saying, "See you later," You can say, "See you later, Emma." It's a small change, but it makes your English sound friendlier and more personal. You could even turn it into a learning exercise. When you meet new people, repeat their name back to them right away. For example, if someone says, "I'm Peter," you can say, "Nice to meet you, Peter." This helps you remember the name and shows them you are paying attention. Later in the conversation, use their name again when making a point. "That's interesting, Peter." This balance, using a few times but not too often, is the key to making people feel respected without sounding unnatural. Another benefit of learning and using names is that it helps you remember people better. If you only remember someone's face, you might forget them in a few weeks. But if you remember their name and say it out loud, it sticks in your memory longer. And the next time you meet, they'll be impressed that you remembered. In all the psychology tricks we've covered so far, mirroring, because pauses and reciprocity, the goal has been to build connection, trust, and attention. Using someone's name takes this connection to a personal level. It tells them, "You are not just another person to me. You are important enough to remember." And that feeling is powerful. Now we come to the final trick, one that is even more powerful than using someone's name. It's about how people remember you, not just for a few minutes, but sometimes for years. The last trick is the most powerful. It can change how people remember you forever. Chapter 6. The peek end rule. Have you ever noticed that when you think back to an event, a trip, a movie, or even a conversation, you don't remember every detail? Your brain doesn't store the full experience from start to end. Instead, it remembers two moments the most: the peak, the most emotional or intense part; the end, how it finished. This is called the peak end rule, a principle from psychology that can completely change the way people remember you. It means you don't have to be perfect all the time. You just need to create one strong moment and finish on a high note. That's what people will remember. Why the peak end rule works: our brains are busy. We can't keep every second of an experience in memory. Instead, the brain takes shortcuts. One shortcut is to focus on the biggest emotional spike and the final impression. Think about a vacation. You might not remember every meal you ate, but you remember the moment you saw the most beautiful view, the peak, and how you felt on the last day, the end. Those two moments will shape your whole memory of the trip. The same is true in conversations. People might forget 80% of what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel at the peak and how you ended things. The classroom story, emotional spike. Let me tell you about a student named Aisha. She was learning English in a small language school. At first, she was shy and didn't talk much, but she had one little habit. At the end of every class, she would smile, look at the teacher, and say, "Thank you, I learned something special today." It was just one sentence, but it created a warm end every time. One day, the teacher told her, "Aisha, I will never forget you. You always leave the class with positive energy. It makes me happy to teach you." Aisha wasn't the loudest or the best student, but she used the peak end rule naturally and became unforgettable. How this applies to English learners: you don't need to speak perfect English to be remembered. You just need two things: a peak, say something interesting, funny, or kind during the conversation. It could be a compliment, a surprising fact, or a genuine laugh. A strong ending. Finish with something warm, polite, or inspiring. Here are some examples. Peak. That's so interesting. I never knew that about your country. And I really enjoyed talking to you. Hope we speak again soon. Even if you made grammar mistakes in the middle, people will walk away thinking, wow, that person was so nice to talk to. Real-life English tip. Practice your endings in English. Endings matter. Think about the difference. Ending flat. Okay, bye. Ending strong. All right, I'll see you soon. Have a great day. When you finish with positive energy, people carry that feeling with them. That's the magic of the peak end rule. You can practice endings with short phrases. Thanks, this was great. That really made my day. I hope we meet again. Take care, my friend. The words are simple, but the feeling lasts. Connecting all 6 tricks, let's look back at everything you've learned. Chapter 1. Curiosity hook from earlier, you learn the foundation. Small actions can create big changes in how people respond to you. Chapter 2. The power because. One word can make your request twice as likely to succeed. Chapter 3. The power of pauses. Silence can speak louder than words, giving your message more weight. Chapter 4. The rule of reciprocity. Small kindnesses come back to you. Chapter 5. Using someone's name. Names make people feel seen and valued. Chapter 6. The peak end rule. People remember the best moment and the ending. When you combine them, you become a person who speaks with purpose, makes people feel good, leaves a strong impression. You don't have to be a perfect English speaker. You just need to use these small, smart tricks. Your next conversation challenge the next time you speak English, even if it's just with a friend, teacher, or online, try this. Plan one peak moment, a compliment, a joke, or an interesting fact. End with a warm, confident phrase. Watch how people's faces change. See how they remember you. That's the peak end rule in action. And here's the best part. When you make people feel good, they want to talk to you again. More conversations mean more practice. More practice means better English. And better English? That means more confidence in every area of your life. So, start using this rule today, because the most powerful thing you can leave behind is not just your words, but the feeling you gave. If you'd like, I can now write a final, powerful call to action that wraps up all 6 chapters for your YouTube script, so it flows smoothly into the video ending. That way, viewers feel the emotional end you're teaching here. Would you like me to create that next? Call to action after Chapter 6. If these 6 psychology tricks gave you new ideas, give this video a like. It tells me you want more lessons like this. And if you're ready to start using them in your daily English, comment below, "I'm using my power." I'll personally reply and cheer you on. And don't forget to subscribe for more simple and powerful English lessons. Lessons that don't just teach you grammar, but also give you confidence, connection, and control in every conversation. Because when you understand people's minds, you're not just learning English, you're learning how to change your world.